Howdy. So here's my question for today. Is it right or wrong to call someone out when they say stuff that is totally outrageous, at least in your opinion, that you disagree with, and you know they work for a company that probably wouldn't like to be associated with a particular kind of language, to the extent that they could lose their job? Is it right to do it? I've gone back and forth with this particular thing over the last few years because there's been a lot of people who have said some really stupid stuff, because sometimes people just spout stuff without thinking about it, and they've been beaten up on social media and they've lost their jobs, and then it impacts them trying to get other jobs later on down the line for a brief mistake. Now, sometimes it's really egregious, like the young lady who was just with some people and got caught on film or on camera. I guess they don't use film anymore. I'm so old. Anyway, got caught on camera repeating something that someone else said. Lost her job at the restaurant she was working at. Got booted from joining the Air Force Reserve. I mean, she wasn't even in it yet. Got booted from that. Had to own up to the fact that she was drunk and underage. She said, I didn't even know the people I was with, but there I was with this bad behavior. And now this is going to impact her for at least 4 or 5 years. I mean, what's she going to do? At some point, she may get another job, probably not in the same city. She'll get another job, and maybe she will stop drinking enough so you can get an education to get a better job later on, but this is going to mess her up. And I say to young people all the time, y'all just don't get it. Let that one really stupid thing that you say go public, because it doesn't matter that you didn't shoot it yourself, but you were there. Get caught with the wrong people, and it could impact you for years. So there's that kind of thing. Then you have something like people who are, well, I will say my age or around my age, who work for very prestigious companies, who get themselves caught in their own politics of belief and will say stuff that is just horrible, and not recognize that they're saying it, and not understanding that the entity that they're telling everybody that they represent could be seen as agreeing with their point of view, when in actuality, most of us know that the entity does not. Is it right to call those people out? And is it right to then contact the company those people are with and say, just want to know, is this your official policy also? Because someone who's representing themselves in a prominent position who works for you is giving the indication that this is where you're leaning. I've had to think about that. And I've decided, yeah, sometimes you just got to do it. So I'm kind of irritated by someone who said something. I don't know the guy. I have no clue. I'd never heard of him before. And the reason I'm doing something is because it involves children. By now, almost everybody has have to have heard about what's happening to these children down on what they call the border states, the immigration, and children being separated from their parents and being put into these horrific concentration camps. Doesn't matter what anyone calls them, they are concentration camps. You've taken children as young as 3 away from their parents with no idea on if they're ever going to see their parents again. And it's government supported. This is horrific. This is just a terrible thing. I don't care how much the people on Fox spews, because that's what I call them, think that this is a little minor thing. Let them take their kids down to this place. They won't do it, because it's always, oh, well, this happened to other people. This could never happen to me. Yeah, Laura Ingraham and that little Tony chick, whatever her name is. Anyway, on LinkedIn, which is supposed to be for business, I tell people that all the time. This is supposed to be for business. Watch your personal stuff, especially in something that's really controversial. I say, don't do it. This guy decided he had to go there. Well, it's the children's fault for coming with their parents to this country. Everyone is getting what they deserved. He didn't say that specifically, but in essence, that's what he said. And he works for a major healthcare company that just hours earlier had put out a statement about their belief in diversity and how they stand for diverse ideas and the promotion of people and that no one should be denigrated. They wrote this article. I didn't write this article. This is not a child. This is a grown man who has it listed, who he works for and what he does. And I'm thinking, are you kidding? This is my industry. And look what you're doing to this. So I have contacted the company. I haven't given a name yet, but I've contacted the company. I want to see what they have to say. I want to see if they say anything. It's going to be telling either way. Either they're going to say something or they're not. And depending on what they do is going to then depend on what I do. And it's a shame. It shouldn't have to get there. I don't care if you support the idea that people who are in the country who didn't come here the right way shouldn't be here. You know what? I don't care if that's your position. I slightly understand that, but it's always been that way. So I don't mind that. But there's no way I can believe that you would agree that the best thing to do is to separate children from their parents and put them in concentration camps. This is exactly what this is. This is no different than wondering how come some young mother is beating her child who's under the age of 2 or 3 or whatever and letting the boyfriend beat the child, and the child ends up in the hospital or ends up dead. And those same people will say, oh, that's horrible. Those people shouldn't be parents. That should never happen to a child. And it's happening to children by the government and it's sanctioned. It's no different. So, this is my thought. I'd like to know your thoughts. Is it right to call someone out when they do something that you know would be against the principles of the organization that they're with the possibility of them losing their job? I'm self-employed. I work for me. So anything I say, it's just totally on me. If I was still working for a hospital and I'm an employee of the hospital, I am not putting myself out in the public and saying certain things. I'd have to leave first if I thought it was that important. Because that's what you do. Everyone says, well, I have freedom of speech. Yeah, but they have freedom to protect their business. And I'm sorry, if you think that what you have to say is more important than your job, that's on you. That's how I feel. Now, I know some people are going to say, well, what about the football players who are protesting the flag? They're not protesting the flag. They're protesting people who are getting killed for no reason whatsoever. And the film shows it. And sometimes you just got to take a stand for liberty. You got to take a stand for justice. That's a different thing than taking a stand saying children should be ripped from their parents. If you can't see that there's a difference there, there's something wrong with how you're made up. That's just my opinion. Let me know your thoughts. My name is Mitch Mitchell. Sometimes I take a stand like this. YouTube isn't monetizing me anymore, so I'm certainly not worried about advertisers. Y'all take care. Hope you have a good day.